Hi there, we are back and we are almost through our Healing Quotes series. And this number 10, is if you feel like you are the only griever in the room. And Caleb Wilde has shared with us that we all carry the dead with us everywhere we go. Now, while this is a very short, maybe dramatic statement, kind of off-put when we just talk about the dead. I'm ready to talk about the dead. I'm ready to talk about those that I've lost or those that have passed. Maybe that's a word for me that's a trigger, just death, right? But I do know this, that we all have these stories. We all have these special moments and memories and things that help us to remember them, right? And being able to talk about them without feeling like, oh, there you go again, right? We don't want to feel that, but I can relate this to the loss of my brother, of course, was sudden, tragic, and absolutely very difficult time. He was 15. He was killed in a motorcycle accident. And it was during a time that my mother and I weren't even talking. And it was my first experience in losing someone that I was old enough to remember. I lost my grandfather, but I was a baby, so that doesn't hold in my memory. Losing my brother was absolutely tragic and difficult, and in its own way filled with so many things. I was also pregnant with my son, my oldest at that time. So there was a lot of worry about how I was going to handle this and how I was going to process. And my grandmother was trying to make sure that I was doing the things that I needed to do. And I will say that that wasn't easy. It was absolutely difficult to deal with. But I had a driving factor inside of my body that required me to get up, to move, to work through, to process. And I think of that and I realized that was a critical piece in that particular journey of grief. And very similar to that with losing my grandmother. My son was 3 years old, 3.5, and we had just moved, and so we had all of these things, and I had to take care of so much, and it did not at all lessen my grief. But you just don't have that time where you can stop and pause and wallow in the grief, right? So fast forward, of course, through all of that, finally my mom and I get to have opportunities to mend our broken path. And through those times, there were discussions that she felt bad that she was in a relationship that she did not feel like she could say my brother's name. And I was struck by that of course you can say his name. And of course we can talk about my brother. We can talk about your son. And when she would answer people who she would just be meeting about, oh, you must be so proud of your daughter. Oh, yes, I am. Do you have any other children? I really was struck at the times that she would say no. And I asked her about it, and I'm like, Mom, you did have another child. You had a son. And you need to be able and feel like you can talk about him to a stranger. Okay, so Tammy's my oldest. I don't know. She just thought it was easier to not address that loss. And this was something that we really, as we started some of the travels and we had some really good opportunities to talk without people being around, without anything, right? We just really were able to be relaxed and enjoy each other. And that freedom I saw in her being able to talk about my brother was remarkable. I think it gave her a form of peace to know this was a safe space. If you want to talk about Richard, by all means, talk about my brother, because I want to talk about him. And you realize that is really key. Being able to talk about your loved one in such a way. And I only mention this because fast forward and I met a woman, and she's still dealing with the loss of her daughter. And we had a conversation because I was coming up on this year of losing my mother, and she stopped me and she's like, will you tell me about your mom? And I really felt happy. I felt heard, because when I talk in general and I'm just doing this and I'm going through my day, you're not really talking about them, right? You're just generalizing things. But she actually stopped and asked questions. And then that allowed me to ask questions about her daughter. And we had a very special 10-minute conversation that really resonates to this point, that we all carry someone with us, right? That we've lost. But when we get that opportunity to talk about them, to share a special memory about them, wow, how relieving that is. Like, it does just give a little bit of a release from inside of your body to say, oh yeah, we had such a great time. We ate so much good food on our travels, and we absolutely had a blast. That when I can share that with somebody, it isn't the grief that I feel. It's not the loss that I'm thinking of. It's that moment in time that we had together that I will forever treasure. And that's important. These are happy tears. Because I do know I have lots of great moments in my head. And lots of things that I can remember. And I hope that I get them up. I hope that I get the opportunity to share those with my sons, with whatever future grandchildren, whatever future friends, however special that comes out. Sorry, this one ended up being a little bit longer, but hopefully you will share your loved one's story with us. And just a special mention in those comments will let us all feel where you are in this journey and who that special loved one is for you. And we can treasure those moments with you. So thank you very much. Bye-bye.